Mental health is something we all have.
Mental health is something that we all have.
Mental health is something we all have.
Our emotional well-being is on a spectrum.
We all move up and down that spectrum at different times in our lives.
Sometimes our mental health may be very good.
At other times, it might be poor and we might struggle.
Some young people will experience particularly difficult mental health problems, which may require specialist help.
These might get in the way of relationships.
Make it hard to cope with life's difficulties and affect time at school.
These young people need the same care and support as those experiencing the usual ups and downs of life.
We are here to talk to you about the more difficult mental health problems and the support that's available.
When I was diagnosed with depression, a friend of mine stopped speaking to me because she thought I was weird and different. A few years later, she started suffering from anxiety. She then came to me and apologised for being insensitive and realised that we weren't so different after all.
A mental health issue may be temporary. It's not something that people necessarily have forever. For example, we may experience short periods of poor mental health, like anxiety or depression, for just a few months, and then never again in our lives.
Struggling with mental health can happen to anyone at any time. We are not defined by mental health, just like we are not defined by a physical condition, like asthma or having a bad back. We need to look after our emotional well-being. What could you do to keep healthy?
I make sure I get plenty of rest and that I exercise. I enjoy walking my dog. I try to eat well and spend time with people I like, especially ones that make me feel safe.
I meditate and go out for walks. I try and get enough sleep. I make sure my work doesn't get on top of me. And when I get stressed, I talk about it with my friends.
There are many myths about mental health and the people who struggle with it. We can all help raise awareness of what's true and what's not.
When my friends found out I was in a psychiatric ward when I was younger, they were shocked. They thought it meant I'd spent time in a padded cell, like they'd seen in the films. This wasn't true at all.
These are some examples of myths you might hear.
People with poor mental health are dangerous.
Statistics show people with mental health problems are much more likely to be victims of crime rather than act violently themselves.
People with mental health issues always need to be admitted to hospital.
There are many ways to address the huge range of different mental health problems. Hospital is only used as a last resort to keep someone safe.
People with mental health issues are born with them.
Mental health issues are caused by a variety of factors. These include trauma, loss and stress. They can appear to occur for no reason at all. It can happen to anyone.
Mental illness lasts forever.
You could be mentally unwell for a short period of time and then never suffer that severely again. Most people make a good recovery and lead the life they want to.
You can tell when someone is struggling with their mental health.
It's usually not obvious at all. 1 in 4 young people in the UK experience suicidal thoughts, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell that by looking at them.
The language we use to talk about mental health is important as it helps us to understand and empathise. It is also important not to use mental health terms in a way that might upset people.
When I came back to school after a period of poor mental health, I got called psycho. That really hurt. I may hear voices, but I'm not a psychopath. I was just struggling with my health the same way that someone with asthma might struggle with theirs.
Language is a huge part of how we communicate with each other. As compassionate humans, we want to make sure we don't use language in a way that hurts other people.
Words like psycho, schizophrenic or bipolar are often used inaccurately and unhelpfully, dismissing someone's genuine struggle.
If you're not sure what a word means, look it up and think before you use these words casually or as an insult.
People who have specific symptoms are sometimes given a diagnosis, like bipolar. For some people this can be really useful because it helps them describe their condition. But for others they don't want to be labelled. They find it too narrow or just not accurate.
We need to respect people's wishes around labels and terms.
Everyone's mental health needs are different because we're all individuals.
It's important that we don't get frustrated with people with poor mental health and to take their struggles seriously.
Telling someone with depression to cheer up is like telling someone with 2 broken arms to do a press-up.
When I'm in a period of depression, I find it impossible to explain to my best friend how I'm feeling and what I need from him. When I was having a good day, I decided to tell him what to do when I am depressed. So now, he knows what to do and how to help me and doesn't take it personally.
Having someone you trust to talk to about mental health is very important. It is also important to be a good friend to someone who is struggling. If you are struggling with your mental health, who would you tell?
As the friend or family member of someone struggling, the best way to find out what they need is to ask them and then listen to what they have to say.
Suicide is the biggest killer of young men. This is a shocking fact. Accessing the support they need at an early stage can help people before things get this extreme.
When a friend shares something distressing or private with you, you have the responsibility to be trustworthy and not to gossip about their situation. However, if you are genuinely worried about their safety, it is essential that you tell an adult or someone your friend trusts.
My friend told me she was having suicidal thoughts, but made me promise not to tell anyone. I decided to tell a teacher who I knew she trusted. He helped her find support through the counselling services, and she was able to get the help she needed. In the end, she thanks me for it.
We need to talk about mental health more, so that people are less likely to hide the problems they're having.
Compassion and empathy when someone's struggling.
Taking it personally when someone's acting in a way you find difficult.
Encouraging your school to discuss mental health openly.
Keeping mental health a secret and making it a taboo subject.
Asking people for help when you're struggling with mental health.
Pretending you're fine, or isolating yourself from those who care.
Talking about mental health honestly and openly to remove stigma.
Using mental health language and terms casually, negatively, or in any way that makes people feel bad.
Providing students with information on what support is available and a clear way of accessing that support.
Alienating, punishing, or humiliating people who are suffering with their mental health.
Being there for your friend consistently, even when they're struggling and hard to be around.
Only spending time with someone when they're happy and stable, and then leaving them on their own when they're struggling. We want to ask both students and teachers to make a pledge to promote emotional well-being and help support people suffering with their mental health. Understanding mental health allows us to identify problems at an early stage and enables us to be kind to ourselves and others.
Talking openly about mental health removes stigma and prejudice, as well as raising society's awareness.
Providing easy access to support and being supportive to those around us helps keep people safe.